Hi, everyone, and welcome to Tuesday Talks with Darlene. Now, I'm so excited. I've got a guest speaker called Claire Kerslake. And Claire is an EFT practitioner who helps women in business attract more money and clients into their business by helping them shift any money blocks or limiting beliefs that are getting in the way. Now, I'm blessed because I've known Claire for quite a while now, so I was so excited when she actually said yes, she wants to come on. It's like, yes. So for anyone following, I would love for you to actually tell more about yourself and how you got into your business, and then what EFT is, because some people may know it and some people may not.
Yes, beautiful. Well, we share a common background, Darlene, with our nursing. And I was a nurse for many years, and but wanted something more. Wanted to grow a business, and it kind of evolved. I came across EFT quite a few years ago as a modality. It's been around about 30-ish years. And it was because at the time I was a diabetes educator and working a lot with women with cravings. And really, I suffered with cravings myself. And for anyone who has, that, you'll kill to get whatever that food is that you crave. And tapping came up as a really good tool to treat cravings. But as a nurse, you're pretty practical, and it seemed just too out there. And a couple of years went by, and I just became aware of the research underpinning tapping. And that, as a health professional, really prompted me to take another look, get some training in EFT and delve into it a bit more. And from there, I evolved and now love working with women in business, because things come up to stop us. And there's nothing better than seeing a woman take beautiful aligned action in her business because she's overcome those fears and limiting beliefs. And I guess to backtrack, what is tapping? So it's emotional freedom technique. It's called EFT, or tapping for short, often because we actually tap on different acupressure points on our face and upper body. And it's been referred to as psychological acupuncture, because we often say things in addition to, well, we always say things in addition to where we're tapping. And the research around it has been extensive and is growing all the time. And that, I guess, is what is wonderful. As a ex-health professional now, I guess, retired registered nurse, really knows that I can step forward and offer this. And not only can I say, oh, well, I've seen it do X, Y, Z, and it is quite amazing. I often think of it as having a bit of a magic wand, because that's how it kind of feels. Because when you're stuck in a problem, whether it be, a health-related problem like a craving, or in your business, and you need to send that newsletter, but you can't make yourself do it, or you need to be more visible and do something like we're doing today, which is talk on podcasts or start your own podcast, or whatever that is, and you're not doing it, often that ends up in being a lot of frustration, and we beat ourselves up. Where if we can use a tool like tapping to dissolve that resistance, you just find yourself taking action. Like, it's just incredible. So it's just a joy to be able to doing work that lights me up, and to see the results in the women that I work with.
Yeah, and it's exciting because I'll freely admit this, I don't use tapping, maybe as much as I could, because I've sort of got other tools that I love. Yet the couple of times I've done it, it's like, hang on, this is actually really powerful. Like, like just something as simple as tapping, and you're like, hang on, because you do the scoring out of 10, and you go from like even 9 out of 10 to like, a couple goes, and suddenly you're down to like 2, and you're like, wow. And then you really feel into your body, and you're like, that's actually not affecting me. And it's like, oh, what happened here?
It's incredible. And one of I've got a couple of little anecdotes more in the health field, but I definitely see this for women in business, and certainly with the cravings field, because the trials were gold standard, so randomized controlled trials, and they would follow up for 1 or 2 years after. And so they might ring someone and say, her name's Sue, and, oh, Sue, remember you were in that trial? And say, oh, yeah, that's right, I was in that trial. And how are you going with the Kit Kats? And you'd say, what Kit Kats? Remember, Sue, you were having 10 Kit Kats a day? Oh, that's right. No, I don't do that anymore. Oh, wow. And so they forget that it's ever a problem. And that came up with a chronic pain trial recently. When they followed up, people had forgotten they ever had pain. And if you know what chronic pain is like, so it has a whole range of effects in the body. And I see this with women in business. Let's say, for instance, I might be working with a woman who really, and I find this a lot with women who are very high achievers, they push themselves hard, struggle to take time off, and that was probably me as well. Yep. And so we'll be working on what's underneath that. And then she'll quietly mention, oh, yes, we're taking the weekend off to do this. Or, I did X, Y, and Z over the weekend. And I said, just a short time ago, that would have been absolutely unthinkable to take any time off. So I love how it happens quite naturally. And so, it might be someone who struggled to be live and say, oh, no, I'm doing weekly lives now. And it's just quite beautiful because the actions just, it's not a forcing yourself, that feel your fear and do it anyway is just absolute, CRAP as far as I'm concerned. I'm not sure how, what we can say on this. Instead, no, let's dissolve the resistance underneath, and then you just take that beautiful aligned action. Yeah. So it does make it easy. Yeah.
And that's what, because, as you know, most of my followers, or a lot of my followers, have mental health challenges, and I freely admit that I do. And so having something easy is just so powerful, because when you're in, especially if you, like for me, thankfully, it's just little moments now, but even in that moment, having a simple tool that can take you out of that and then just detach and actually look at what's happening is so good, because, there are things out there that are so complicated, and you're like, I'm already overwhelmed, and you want me to do something that's like 20 steps long? No. Whereas this is like, that is all, you are just beautifully tapping, and it's just like, and that's the other thing as well, is because what I find is if I'm actually doing something, that really helps to affect my emotions and that as well. Like, it gets me in the present. And that is what, for me, who's got, anxiety, depression, all that, I need something that gets me in the moment and actually gets me really focusing. And that's what I love about the EFT, is it does that.
Yeah, that's right. And I should have brought the stats actually, but there's been really good results in RCTs, the randomized controlled trials on depression, anxiety, that type of thing. Like, I think it lowers your stress hormones by some amazing amount. It's incredible. Just, not only do you have the results in your real life actions, you're taking those actions, but physiologically in your body, they can measure these things now, which is just incredible.
It is. And I love, and as you said before, we're both nurses, so having that those statistics out there that are proper trials and all that is so cool. You're actually able to say, hey, look at this. It's not, it's not something I've just made up. It's actually, it all matches and everything. And it's just so good to have that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, totally.
Yeah. And is there any, for women in, so your clients, you look after a lot of women in business, is there something that seems to come up all the time?
Yeah, often things come up, procrastination, knowing what to do and not doing it. And then that comes up, beating yourself up, why can't I do that? And often I work a lot with women who are, set very high standards to themselves. So they tend to be quite hard on themselves. So that comes up, feeling like a fraud, which, that's that imposter syndrome. Who do I think I am to be doing this? Fear of visibility, and obviously, social media You know, it's very visible and wanting to grow your business. You know, you need to put yourself out there. So that comes up a lot. Fear of not feeling good enough. Yeah. So there are common elements that come up. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and I feel a lot of those would especially relate to women with mental health challenges because, you know, all of those things, I just went, that was me, that was me, that was me, that's still a bit of me.
Yeah, that absolutely. Yeah, it kind of amplifies it all. Yeah, you know.
Yeah. Now, EFT, if you just like, it's probably how long is a piece of string, but you know, as I said, we want something that's sort of short. So how long would tapping roughly take? Just a rough sort of estimate.
Yeah, well, it is a bit of a question. How long is a piece of string? It's so individual. What we do know is that it's very quick. So when in some of the trials, they compared it with cognitive behavior therapy, for instance, which was the gold standard. And they actually had to extend the trial because EFT worked quicker than the CBT. So they had to make the trial longer. But also as importantly, it stays done. So the results are there. So we know it's quicker than, you know, gold standard modalities. It is a little bit, how long is a piece of string, or how long has that issue been going on? You know, is it connected to trauma? I have some lovely clients that, you know, I work with because, as you know, as we grow our businesses, you know, things come up really at every level. So that's one of my most favourite ways of working as a woman grows their business. But sometimes a single session will be enough just to knock things on the head. But more often it's a number of sessions. And sometimes, you know, it's how we feel in our body. Things take slower because we're just not ready to sort of get past them. We just need that extra little bit of time, and that's okay too. I think of it, we often talk in tapping about a table. So you imagine like a coffee table, it's got 4 legs. So often an issue might have different little aspects to it. And as we dissolve each aspect, then suddenly it's like it's gone and it's not a problem anymore. And in fact, we forget it was a problem, which I just love. It's a little bit like a double-edged sword because we forgot it was a problem, you know, we can't attribute it to the tapping. But just when you're stuck in the mud and you've got this issue, sometimes it's hard to see a way out. But for that not to ever be an issue, not to be a problem, and for us to forget you know, that we ever had the problem is just incredible. And I just adore seeing women, you know, step into their power and take action that feels aligned. They're not forcing themselves to take action. It feels right. You know, it's aligned to their values and their goals and their dreams. So, yeah. Yeah,
and I love that because there's so many beautiful coaches out there that, you know, they've learned stuff and they keep saying, you know, just push through and just push through. And it's like, hang on. I've got trauma. I've got mental health challenges. I'm not going to push through. That's just going to take me out for months. Like that's so cool about this.
Oh, absolutely. When I first started, been around probably the business world for a while. When I first started, you know, I just wasn't aware of any mindset modalities at all. And it was all that, you know, go ahead and do it. Just go and do it. And I wasn't that type of person. You know, I was terrified of everything, really. You know, some people say, well, you know, start at zero. I think I was negative, in the negative. You know, I was so scared of everything. You know, just even my first Facebook post, you know, I thought, oh God, you know, someone is going to, you know, and not, you know, sometimes our fears are not logical. I somehow thought that my identity would be stolen. They'd come and take all my money and we'd be bankrupted on the street, you know. I was terrified. And my first webinar, my goodness, it was like jumping off a cliff. And I didn't have those mindset modalities such as EFT. And I so wish I had, and that's probably why I'm so passionate about it now, because you don't have to do it the hard way. It's allowed to be easy, and we can use those tools to help us take that easy aligned action.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I really want to emphasize that point, because for anyone that's following, if if you just start a business or you've only been in a few months, I really want to emphasize that mindset is just as important, maybe even more important than
Yeah.
business strategies.
Yeah.
Because when we start, we think we just need all these strategies. Yet if you don't have that mindset behind it, those
Yeah.
strategies, you could, just it'll get you somewhere, but it won't get you as far as if you've got that mindset with it. And that's
Ah,
all of this
totally.
is so important, like it's just
Yes.
so important.
Yeah, absolutely. And often a lot of the women I work with know what they need to do. They've got this
Mm,
strategy. Yeah, this is what I
mm,
need to do. Why aren't I doing it? And they
mm,
know something's getting in the way. Sometimes they don't know what. They just
mm,
know that I can't make myself do it.
mm,
Whenever I know I need to go live, or send that newsletter, or send off my bio to a podcast host.
mm,
I do a million other things. I'm
mm,
caught up in the busy work, so I don't have time.
mm,
Or I get stuck into the housework, whatever it is. At the end of the day, I think I still haven't done that thing.
mhm.
And it's incredibly frustrating for them. So it's wonderful to have a tool that that they can use to help them move forward and take that action. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what I find, I need things that help me hold me accountable as well. And
Yeah.
that's why doing these beautiful interviews, now my
Mm.
emails are going to be more consistent, but I've got the
Mm.
mindset tools behind it as well. So, things like EFT and all of that help me with that. And that's
Yes.
what I
Oh,
love.
absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Yeah,
Mm.
it's incredible, isn't it? Like, all of these tools are just so amazing. And as I
Yeah.
said, when you got something simple like EFT, it's just, and I'm not downplaying how beautiful it is by saying simple,
Mm.
but it's a
Mm.
process that, it's
Yeah.
not as complicated as I was saying before. It's not complicated like other ones. It's beautiful.
No.
And
Yes.
so
Yeah.
with that, like, something happened on the weekend and it did activate my PTSD.
Mm.
So how can EFT be used in a moment of, say, an emergency for someone like me?
Yeah, it calms that stress center in our brain down beautifully.
Mm.
And one of the things we know with PTSD is that talk therapy just doesn't work. We need to
Tell me
use
about it.
need to use a modality that's
Mm.
body focused, such as
Mm.
EFT. But definitely in the moment, absolutely get tapping
Mm.
and just settles that down. Just settles everything down, brings that relaxation response in. Yeah, absolutely. It's a beautiful tool to use in the moment,
Mm.
that you can do, just yourself, even to get that down. And you don't have to, often when things are really intense,
Mm.
sometimes you don't even need the words, because the feeling is so evident in your body. Just
Mm.
tap on, this feeling, yeah,
Wow,
and
I
get that
didn't realize
down.
that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So you
Wow.
don't have to put it into words. You can, and if I'm tapping with a client who perhaps we might be tapping on an issue that feels private, obviously all of my sessions are absolutely confidential. And as a nurse, we understand confidentiality super well.
Yes.
But even so, they might feel that I don't want to share that issue. We can just tap on what's happening in the body. This
Mm.
issue, this tension in my chest, this churning in my belly. So it's a beautiful way that you can dissolve that and still get the results and clear what's coming up.
I did not realize that. That's
Yeah,
that's like a
yeah,
huge aha moment for me. It's like,
yeah,
so
yeah.
amazing.
Yes, it is. And often, the more we can focus on the body and what we're feeling in the body, our bodies are very
Mm.
wise.
Oh,
Yeah.
they are.
And then the ahas come.
Mm.
We might not know what's behind the
Mm.
resistance, or we might be wondering about a course of action, whatever.
Mm.
And often the ahas come
Mm.
either during the session or the next day or two. It's
Mm.
really quite beautiful.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's so cool.
Yeah.
So if someone
Mm.
working with you, say they've got something like PTSD, can you
Yeah.
give them like a short script or something that they can use, so if something happens, they can use it in that moment and they don't have to think about anything?
Yeah, we can do that. I can certainly, obviously it will be specific to them. Yeah, definitely.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's really cool because, there's a lot of generic stuff out there, but to be able to, make it bespoke for that person, that's really cool.
Yeah. One of the things we know with tapping, the more specific we can be, the better. Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah.
Yeah. Wow. This is, I can talk to you forever.
I know.
I do know about EFT, but now it's like, oh my goodness, there's just so much more to it than I actually realized.
Yes. Yeah, no, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
There
absolutely.
is a lot to it.
Yeah. This is beautiful. Now, for anyone following, in the description, I have got links to where you can find Claire and all of that. So please go and look Claire up because, I mean, how amazing has this conversation been? Like, I just can't. I'm just actually blown away by how much information you've, given me that I didn't even realize.
Oh, that's beautiful, Darlene. Thank you. It's been such a lovely conversation.
It's absolutely amazing. So again, everyone check Claire out, just absolutely amazing. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel because I'm interviewing just amazing people like Claire. Like I love what I do. I really, I should have
fantastic, Darlene.
I should have been on TV, I reckon.
Well, now you are. You've got your own channel.
Beautiful. Thank you again, Claire, for your time. I really, really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me, Darlene. And yes, I love what you do and loving these interviews.
Thank you.